Josh and Millie had been together for nearly 6 years now. They met shortly after Josh started working in the oil fields. It was a fly-in, fly-out job that kept Josh away for weeks at a time, but he made good money at it. Millie understood the demands of the work, even if she wished they could spend more time together. When Josh was home, they enjoyed lazy mornings in bed and home-cooked meals. They would catch up on the events of the past few weeks and make plans for the future. The time apart made them cherish their time together even more. The trust between them was rock solid after so many shared experiences over the years. Their relationship had its challenges, but they worked through them, committed to making it last. Josh was once again out of town. He'd installed a Ring camera in the living room at home so that he could check in on Millie and his cat through the app on his phone and watch a live video feed. Millie had been out of town at her parents' house, and Josh's best friend was looking after the cat. Millie said she'd be back either that day or the day before, so when the motion detection notification popped up on his phone, he was excited to see his girlfriend. The notification came through as he was sitting in the break room, killing time during his lunch break. He clicked on it absent-mindedly, expecting to see Millie returning home. Instead, he watched as his best friend Andrew followed Millie into their apartment. Josh frowned, wondering why Andrew was there. Josh watched the camera footage intently as Andrew and Millie moved into the living room. He could hear their muffled voices through the camera's mic, but couldn't make out what they were saying. After chatting for a few minutes, Josh saw them disappear down the hallway in the direction of the bedroom. A cold feeling settled in Josh's gut. Andrew had no reason to be going into their bedroom. Josh's mind started racing, thinking back over the past few weeks for any signs that something was going on between Millie and Andrew. They had always been friendly, but Josh had never suspected anything inappropriate. Andrew was his best friend after all. The next 2 hours crawled by agonizingly slow for Josh. He had distractedly gone back to work but kept checking his phone at every opportunity. He debated calling or texting Millie, but didn't want to jump to conclusions or seem paranoid. Finally, Josh received a motion detection alert from the Ring camera. Millie and Andrew returned to the living room. Millie's hair was a little messed up. They appeared relaxed, not hurried or nervous. Josh scrutinized their body language, looking for any signs of intimacy or guilt, but they simply chatted casually before exchanging a brief friendly hug at the door. Millie locked the door behind Andrew and went about her usual routine. To an outsider observing the footage, nothing would have seemed amiss. But Josh's mind was spinning. What possible reason could there be for them to spend hours alone together in the bedroom? Josh agonized over what to do. He knew he needed to have a conversation with Millie, but he dreaded it. He was afraid of falsely accusing her of cheating and damaging their relationship. But the not knowing was eating him up inside. He knew he needed to talk to her, to hear her explanation, but he dreaded it. Taking a deep breath, he hit call. "Hey babe, what's up?" Millie's voice was light and cheerful, no hint of guilt or deception. "Hey, Josh faltered, unsure how to broach the subject. "I got a notification from the Ring camera today. It showed you and Andrew going into our bedroom for a couple hours. What was that about?" "Oh, that?" Millie laughed. "We were just hanging out listening to some music and chatting." Josh frowned, unsatisfied with her casual response. "For 2 hours? In our bedroom?" Millie sighed. "Babe, I promise you there is nothing going on between me and Andrew." She went on to explain how she had gone to pick up Josh's cat from Andrew's house the previous day after getting back to town from her parents. It was late, and they'd ended up having a few drinks, and Millie had crashed at his place for the night. Andrew was just giving her a ride home today, and she'd invited him up to hang out for a bit. Josh rubbed his forehead, emotions swirling. Her story made sense logically, but his instincts were still on high alert. "Where did you sleep when you stayed over?" he asked quietly. "On the couch," she said quickly. Josh let out a long breath. He wanted to believe her, he really did. She had never given him reason to doubt her faithfulness in all their years together. And Andrew was like a brother to him. Surely neither of them would ever betray him like that. But try as he might, he couldn't shake the seed of suspicion that had taken root. The feeling that they weren't being fully truthful, that there was more to the story. He knew it wasn't healthy to obsess over it without proof one way or the other. But the not knowing ate away at his peace of mind. Josh took a deep breath, trying to keep his voice steady. "I'm sorry, I know you said there's nothing going on, but I can't shake this feeling that you're not telling me everything. Please, just walk me through exactly what happened last night at Andrew's." "Josh, I already told you. Nothing happened, we just hung out and had some drinks. Why can't you let this go?" "Because it doesn't make sense." Josh said, his voice rising in frustration. "You expect me to believe my best friend and my girlfriend spent the whole night drinking alone together and nothing happened? Then you both disappeared into our bedroom today for hours doing who knows what." "We were listening to music, I told you that," Millie said sharply. "Don't you trust me at all?" Josh raked his hands through his hair. "Of course I do, but something feels off here. Please, Millie, I need you to be honest with me. Did something happen with Andrew?" Millie's voice rose in pitch. "I can't believe you're accusing me of cheating on you with your best friend." "I'm not accusing, I'm asking," Josh retorted. "Just tell me the truth." "You want the truth?" Millie yelled. "The truth is I'm sick of you being gone all the time for work. I'm lonely and Andrew makes me feel appreciated. He doesn't interrogate me or doubt my every word." Josh reeled, stunned by her outburst. "So you admit something did happen with Andrew?" he asked quietly. Millie was silent for a moment. "We kissed, all right? I was drunk and emotional about you being away and it just happened. We both felt guilty and agreed it could never happen again. That's the honest truth." "Is that all you did?" he asked. This time there was a longer silence. Then Millie spoke in an almost imperceptible whisper. "No, it went further than just a kiss, okay? Is that what you wanted to hear?" Josh felt like he'd been punched in the gut. The confirmation of his worst fears was devastating. "I knew it," he said bitterly. How long has this been going on?" "It was just that one time, I swear," Millie pleaded. "We got carried away. We were drunk. It will never happen again, I promise. Please, Josh, you have to believe me." Josh was barely listening, lost in his own spiraling thoughts. He had suspected, but to have it confirmed cut so much deeper. The two people he trusted most in this world had betrayed him in the worst possible way. "Josh, please say something," Millie begged. He could hear tears in her voice. "We can get through this. It was a stupid mistake, but I love you. I want to fix this." "And what about today? You were with Andrew in our bedroom for 2 hours. Millie didn't reply. Josh waited for her to answer, but the silence was answer enough. "Fuck, Millie." His voice broke. Millie dissolved into sobs. "I'm so sorry, Josh. I never meant to hurt you. I don't know what I was thinking." "Don't," he said harshly. His mind was reeling, unable to process the enormity of the betrayal. How could they do this to him? He had loved and trusted them both so completely. Now he didn't know what to believe. The words, heavy as lead, sank into the silence between them. Josh's heart throbbed in his chest, a drumbeat of betrayal. He clutched the phone tighter, the plastic creaking under the strain of his grip. The finality of his next words clawed at his throat, but he knew what he had to do. "Millie." Josh's voice was a quiet storm. "This is over, we're done. You need to get your stuff out of the apartment before I get back." Her pleas crackled through the speaker, desperate and frantic. But Josh's resolve was a fortress. He imagined her standing in his apartment, surrounded by the fragments of their life together. "I can't do this anymore," Josh said, cutting through her sobs. "And tell Andrew. Tell him he's dead to me." With that, he ended the call and shut his eyes against the burn. He sat there for a moment, his heart pounding in his chest. The reality of what had just happened was still sinking in. Millie, the woman he loved, had betrayed him in the worst possible way. And Andrew, his best friend, had played a part too. He felt a wave of anger wash over him, followed by a deep sense of loss. The life they had built together, the memories they had shared, all of it felt tainted now. He couldn't believe that the people he had trusted most had let him down so completely. With a heavy sigh, Josh closed his eyes and rubbed his temples, trying to push the pain away. He knew he had made the right decision, but it didn't make the process any easier. He unlocked his phone and proceeded to block Millie and Andrew from contacting him through social media and directly through texts and phone calls. It was a clean break, but it still hurt. Over the next few days, Josh leaned on the support of his friends and family as he navigated the aftermath of the betrayal. They listened to him, offered words of encouragement, and helped him pick up the pieces of his shattered heart. He still had 2 weeks before he had to fly back to his city. He found solace in the routine of his job, the familiarity of the oil fields providing a sense of stability and purpose. Josh's sister called and told him that Millie had moved all her stuff out of his apartment and moved into Andrew's place. Learning that Millie had jumped straight from him to his former best friend hurt a lot. Josh spent the next few weeks in a daze. He went through the motions at work, but his mind was elsewhere. He couldn't believe that Millie and Andrew had betrayed him. He had loved and trusted them both so much. When he finally flew back home and entered his apartment, he was hit with a wave of depression and sadness. The apartment felt empty and cold. It felt like a stranger's place. There was no trace that he and Millie had even spent the last 6 years together. Their shared memories seemed like a distant dream, like something that had happened to someone else. That was the moment when reality truly set in for Josh. His relationship with Millie was really over. It was a final, irrevocable break. The love and happiness that they had shared were gone, replaced by pain and emptiness. He had known that Millie had moved out, but seeing the apartment empty was a different kind of blow. It was like a physical manifestation of the fact that his life had changed irrevocably. Josh felt numb. The betrayal that he had experienced had hollowed him out, leaving him feeling lost and directionless. He didn't know how he was going to move on without Millie. She had been his everything for so long. He managed to get through the next week, meeting up with family and friends who did their best to cheer him up. They took him out to dinner, went to the movies with him, and tried to distract him from his pain. But no matter what they did, Josh couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness and loneliness. After the week, he had to go back to the oil fields. He was glad that he had a demanding job to keep him occupied while he learned to cope with his breakup and the betrayal of Millie and Andrew. He knew that it would take time to heal, but he was determined to get through it. Over time, Josh's wounds began to heal. The pain of the breakup never fully went away, but it became less sharp and all-consuming. He began to accept that his relationship with Millie was over, and that he would have to move on without her. He started to make plans for the future, setting goals for himself both at work and in his personal life. He decided that he wanted to advance his career and move into a supervisory role. He also started thinking about dating again. He knew that he wasn't the same man that he had been before the breakup. He had been through a lot, but he had also learned a lot about himself. He was stronger and more resilient than he had ever been before. He was ready to face the future, whatever it might hold. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on future content. Take care.